All right. What is going on, Maverick team? How is everybody doing? We are here for Power Hour to close out Tag a Bag Tuesday, is what I like to call it. And we got some cannabis stocks that we are watching. So buckle up if you've been interested in something like that. We've been watching cannabis stocks since Friday. There's actually two stocks in particular that I like to keep an eye on. MSOS is the ETF that's making new 52-week highs, and the gap up from 375 to $6 on Friday after the news that Trump said he wants to possibly declassify the drug. We also got a huge move in CGC from $1.13 up to $1.80, and this is usually the listed leader. So we got one OTC leader, one listed leader. I usually keep an eye on both of those to see if there can be possible opportunities coming up. And if you were with us yesterday, we talked about how we needed a dip, a curl. The dip day needed to hold and curl, and that's exactly what we're getting today. So looking for that follow-up day in cannabis is what we'll be doing here overnight. Just finding the ones that we like the best is always what I say the goal with the least risk. So try to find one with the least risk. And how I like to do that is every single day, I actually set up a watch list called the overnight watch list. And that overnight watch list usually has a group of stocks. I always do 5 or less that are giving me possible opportunity to follow up overnight. And I always say, how does it give me opportunity? Well, I found a pattern, 5 patterns that have worked for me in the past now 8 years consistently. And I just look to try to do those patterns over and over again with the right risk levels. So today I'll show you the 5 patterns I like with the risk levels here right now. So let's dive in to the plays. And if you're interested in any of this, you can always find all this information in simplertrading.com under Stock Mavericks. That's where the community is tagging bags. So we got 5 stocks that we're looking at. I decided to do 4 cannabis and 1 gold OTC stock because this stock I've been watching since the weekly watch list is actually on the weekly watchers for a possible spike. And look at that, we're starting to spike now. So we'll keep an eye on that for sure. But let's dive in and let's show you what we're looking at. VRNO is one that I like. This is an OTC stock creating a nice spike. We were just seeing it at 160. It's got a decent spike to 175. 180s are highs, and a lot of these OTC stocks have already broke out of 1-year highs, where this one hasn't. If you zoom out to the 2-year and 3-year chart, cannabis stocks have been falling for a while. So it might look like they're extended on the 1 year, but I think they do have room to possibly follow up, especially with the news. Lately, I'm not a guy that would say go trade cannabis stocks. That's definitely not who usually I am. I'm not going to usually dive into cannabis stocks right away. But if there is that type of news out there, that's when I will go after it. So I'll go after cannabis stocks only if there's news out there that shows me the opportunity. And right now there is. Excuse my little cough here. I'm actually a little sick, but all right. So the one stock we are in, it's a lighter volume one, and it's getting a small dip here. So we're going to see if it can hold. It's one of the few OTC cannabis stocks that hasn't moved, and a lot of them have right now. So if you do like it, we would say getting into a dip buy is not a bad idea during Power Hour, and that would be this JUSHF. So we're trying to kind of catch some more on a dip. It's not filling us right now, but we'll see if we can get the rest filled. But this is one that we do like, and we already have some filled here at 85 cents. Looking for the follow-up back to 90 and then hopefully to 95 and $1 tomorrow. So that's the one. Before we get into anything, I just wanted to show you that we are stabbing into. Other than that, let's talk about the other 5. VRNO we'll start with. Just showed you that one. An OTC. Getting into listed, I like CGC. It's got that hold, and it's also right at resistance level. CGC is a good one to watch after hours. So if you want, take an eye on CGC after hours. That's definitely not a bad idea because that will move all after hours. So if you want to take it at 8, or if you feel more comfortable taking it later, you can. There's also possibles of big squeezes after hours, and this one did that on Friday when we grabbed it. So we were able to grab it right before the close or right here pretty much. And then it ended up curling up to the 190s. And who knows what can happen today if the momentum continues. So that's why I like CGC as my next one. The next one is Tilray, typical other cannabis listed stock. This one's got more of a range right now than CGC, but everything's getting a small dip, and that's good. Dips are actually good during power hour. We would like to get filled in dips, so that's why we try to set ourselves up for dip buys. And then we look for the curls into the end of the day. And we only have 45 minutes left in the day here, so the dip timing here is probably good. Let's just see if we can get some fills. And then the other last one I decided to put on there was the JUSHF I showed you. So those are the 4 cannabis stocks. There definitely are more. You have CURLF. So I only like to dim it down to 5, but if you want to look at more, you have Curleaf making new 52-week highs. That's a beautiful move. You have TCNNF making new 52-week highs here. Wow, that one actually took a little bit to get going, but nice little start there. You have GTBIF still kind of holding. Let's see if that can make new 52-week highs. You have Planet 13. Beautiful hold there. And it's trying to make that leg up. Planet 13 is actually far from 52-week highs. So I actually like this one possibly. Let's see where it can hold. It doesn't really have support yet. So let's see if the dip holds at all. MSOS is making new highs. So that JUSHF, we got a little more filled at 84, bringing our average down to like 85.3 now. And let's see if it can get a push. Let's see what else we got here. So CGC is one I'll definitely watch after hours, and I'll look for this push. MSOS is getting a really nice push here, so I got to find another one that I like, I think. I have a whole list of cannabis stocks that I actually created on the weekly watch list this week. And then I also have a video I came out with on YouTube not too long ago, if you ever want to check that out, with a list of watchers as well. But all of our OTCs are getting a nice little push. CGC isn't, which is interesting. So I'm going to kind of hold off on that, but I do like it. I think after hours, that might be a really good watcher for that squeeze if it keeps holding this 185 and 180 spot. VRNO, nice curl from 155, dip midday, 160. Love seeing that. And MSOS curling really helps. AABB, I'm keeping a close eye on as well. I do think this has a chance to gap. The volume is a little lighter, but if you don't want to put all your gems in one stock or one sector, like the cannabis sector, then maybe kind of separate it up a little bit and move it into this gold stock as well. CGC is getting a dip now, so let's see where it holds. Yesterday it was super weird. If you were trading with us, you saw what happened late in the day. MSOS spiked up and got halted and came back down. There was a lot of volatility there in MSOS. Right now, we're seeing volatility on the upside. It looks like AABB stacking up a little bit of buyers at 159 and 161. What I like about OTC stocks, when you do go a little lighter in some of these, you can kind of read the volume levels on the level twos. So you can kind of say, all right, that looks pretty good there. We got buyers stacking up, sellers also kind of stacking up. There was a million seller earlier. I don't know where he went, but he was sitting at 1.7. So I don't know if he's going to pop back in. Definitely don't want to forget about that. Tesla with the big hammer candle today. All right, so MSOS is continuing trying to curl here. The more it pushes into this end of the day, the better that these are going to look here. And MSOS does move after hours, so you can keep an eye on that one. But that is technically the ETF for OTC stocks. One that looks pretty decent is TSNDF too. New highs there. GTBIF's curling as well. So right now it's what other one do we want that is going to give us the right risk? I think CGC will if I keep watching it. Also, Tilray's a possibility. But in my opinion, I always set up my overnight watch list so I can try to buy as close to the support as because then I could sell closer to the resistance. And the closer you buy to support, the less you're going to risk. So the dip right here is actually a good thing. You just got to make sure it keeps holding that 180, 185 spot when it comes down. Other possible cannabis stocks, if you do like more listed stuff, you have SNDL, VFF, OGI. It's a little more that you can add to your portfolio or your watch list if you want to add some more cannabis stocks to your watch list. It looks like this is going to be something that'll be around next year, even if it cools off for a little bit and this isn't the time it heats up. It does seem like this might be something that'll be sticking around with the news that's kind of came out first in August and now it came out again. And that's the declassification news, kind of bringing cannabis down to a, I think, Schedule 1 drug or Schedule 3. I always get it mixed up. But either way, it makes it so people can study on cannabis. And I think that's what Trump said about it. Who knows? Either way, we're doing this to try to take advantage of the momentum that we're seeing right now. And JUSHF, even though it's spread, that's why I like to have my myself on the bid, because you get filled on that bid and then it can take off. And that's what we're looking for with MSOS curling. That one should. And then we'll keep an eye on CGC and Tilray because those are listed. MSOS is OTC. Nice moves, though. I don't know what's leading the way here. I'm going to try some of this AABB, I think, as well. Let's get some limits down there. This is a former runner that I used to play as well. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. JUSHF just ticked to highs, but volume is still really light there, which I don't love. Nice move. So we're trying to average our way into some more of this AABB on the way up. MSOS is showing a clear curl here. Let's see. CGC will be our next victim after MSO or after this AABB if it continues to hold. Another one we didn't put on the overnight watch list, TCNNF. A little bit of a slower one, higher priced, above $10. $10 is always a nice price range to watch. Speaking of $10, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac had a really nice bounce today, pretty much a 10% bounce. Nice curl in AABB. Let's see how much more it can go. See if we can break past this 183. So this is definitely, I'm deciding if I want to do this quickly or try to let this ride. But I was sniping it down here at the 1716 area. And now it's trying to curl. VRNO is getting a little dip, which is good to see. Let's see how much farther that can dip to. Let's see if VRNO can dip a little more. Because none of them else are dipping, but closer to 160 would be beautiful. Yeah, it's coming down a little more. This is what we want. Oh, never mind. Oh, there's a nice buyer at 1.8 here in AABB. I don't know, VRNO might be coming down. Come on, buddy. Actually swipe some there of AABB. So quick little 200, 230. That was quick in the book from the AABB from there to there. But I do want to see if we could dip some more back to our spot, and I'll look for a gapper into the close. Still looks pretty good for a nice follow up here into the close, but we'll see. I do want to get myself in another cannabis stock, and I do like another listed one. So I have a little bit of this JUSHF, and now I'm trying to do some CGC. The AABB curl was perfect. Nice little like 167 to 18, almost 10%. It doesn't look like it, but it was. And now let's see if we can get ourselves an overnight play. Ooh, big buyer just stepped back in there for AABB. This is a former runner, and it's usually known to gap up when it does push. So VRNO is still getting a little push down. See if we can get closer to 160. Tilray new high. It's a big buy that just stepped in AABB. See if that pushes it. Nice. So AABB's pushing the highs now. That looks like a winner. There we go. See how much higher it's going to go. Will it be able to break that high day of 188? Oh, there's a beautiful looking OTC mover. Now the seller stepped in, which is fine. It has a big buyer and a big seller, which is expected. That's okay. Oh, wow. It broke through. It's going to break highs. No, not yet. So if you're wondering what I'm looking at, I'm looking at the level twos here where there's time of sales. You have a guy that has 390,000 on the ask, and then you have someone on the bid here with 1,000,000 shares down here. And that's what we look for. So you see as these start to kind of go away, see that was a big buyer that just went in, that 8 at 185, so that means it's still going up. Keeping an eye on this VRNO here. I like this area that we're in. It's one of the few that also hasn't came back to highs yet, and all the rest of them have. So if it starts to dip back to like 161, I'm going to go after some here at 174, and I'll put some orders a little lower. We got 25 minutes left now. AABB with that big buy. It looks like it wants to keep going, but we'll see. Nice push so far. There we go. A little more. Let's see if MSOS gets a dip so we get the rest filled. And then CGC and Tilray, those will be ones after hour that I'll probably alert. So be on the lookout until 8 p.m. Eastern for both CGC and Tilray, because I do think those ones still are good watchers as we head into the close. You could also catch them as just quick moves, just like I just did with that AABB. That was a quick 250 right there in the books live, just to kind of show you guys. All right, so we have 20 minutes left. Let's see. Does anyone have any tickers or anything they want to talk about? Let's get into it. QNCCF, did you see that one yesterday? We actually went 2 for 2 overnight yesterday. The one stock, we took a pretty nice gap up, and then QNCCF, we had to break even. We won a little bit, but it ended up curling all the way up. It's actually still not a bad watcher if you look at it. Second green day. There's a big seller in AABB, so good sell real quickly. Let's see if we can get dip back down. But at this point, I need this to push back above that seller if I'm going to go for it. VRNO, it just filled some at 171. That's where I like to put the limits down, and I'll try to get some more at 165. I always say buy into dips. I treat dips as discounts. A lot of people would treat that differently. You gotta have to almost train your psychology to think differently, because you have to say if you liked it up here, then you gotta like it down there. It's very similar to Bitcoin. A lot of people are going crazy about Bitcoin, but if you like Bitcoin at 100K, 120K, you gotta like it now. VRNO is the one, Johnny. So 2 cannabis ones I think I'm going to try. AABB, I'm going to wait because that huge seller just came in. He disappeared again, but that was the same seller that showed up earlier. So now we know there's a seller there. So I'm going to wait a little bit longer, probably towards the last 10 minutes there. And then VRNO, it's filling a little bit at 171 right now. And that one we'll just play for the gap. If it gaps down, we'll have to use like 160, 155 is cut. So a little wider range because it is sector momentum. And in sector momentum, I usually risk a little more because I usually look to make a little more. With this JUSHF, since it's a lighter volume one, it's a little different. We'll just play it with that 83 cut, 82 cut. And we got in at 85 pretty much. AABB, the seller's back. All right, so keep an eye on that. So if you are new to OTCs and all that jazz, usually what I like to watch are these level 2s, time and sales, see how they affect the buyers and sellers and how they affect the stock. So right now there's a huge seller at 181. Right now there's not a lot of buyers, but it's still holding, which is a good sign. Let's see. I'm going to move some bid down. Since MSOS is getting a little dip, we're going to move the bid down and see if we can get filled on the dip here. CGC is also dipping. Tilray is on its own right now, kind of hanging by highs. And then that Planet 13, which if you don't know, that's the stock, that's the company that's in Las Vegas. It's like known as the biggest dispensary, I think, in the world. We got 20 minutes left in our day. Let's see if we can make some money here. So we've already gone 2 for 2 earlier. We got that quick win right there on ABB. Still could possibly look that one for the gap up. And CGC and Tilray will be after hours watchers. Last time we did take the after hours CGC on Friday, and it did get that big squeeze. So I will have to be watching these once the clock turns. What I look for usually after hours is a continuation hold of like 185, 184, and then the curl back above 195, because then you could use that as risk, and you just look for the push. JUSHF is back to ticking highs, but we'll see what happens there. And then AABB coming back down. Let's see if it holds this 1.6 level. That had a decent amount of buyers, and then VRNO 172, it looks like, is going to try to be our spot here for overnight plays. So VRNO and JUSHF are going to be the ones we'll look for in OTC stock gap ups, and then we'll also watch CGC and Tilray for possible runners. All of those are cannabis, so don't put your whole account into every single one. But yeah, if you do like them, this is definitely the time that you can make some money. You want to be where things are hot. And what's funny is the overall markets have been pretty cool. I mean, we got a nice bounce today, midday, but the last 2 days they've been slowing down a little bit. Oh, I didn't even bring up pets earlier. What about pets for my morning watch list? Did anybody see that one? PETS. That one was from the morning watch list for a continuation. Look at the move it had midday. So I had the line set up earlier. It technically never broke our lowest line, which was low a day of yesterday. And then it just held and it just took off midday with some news, though. So there was news that came in that helped that out. But it was on our morning watch list. And there's reasons why those are on our morning watch list. We like to be where shorts are scared. And every single morning we create a morning watch list, which I'm already starting up here for tomorrow. So a little bonus for those of you guys that are on YouTube Live right now. You can check that out. We got a small list of watchers here. But yesterday, look what was number one. And look at that move. So pretty cool stuff. And it's up 35% today. But we were looking to buy this all the way down at 280, 290. So and it hit the, that's a 30% plus move, which is beautiful to see. AABB still holding, even though it has that seller. I want to see if it breaks above that seller to close. And then JUSHF, this is what we like to see also. Nice little small tick ups into the close here. So slowly just trying to add more now to our cannabis stocks on dips. And if we can get the curls into the close, that's the goal. We have 15 minutes left. The goal always at the end of the day for me is if I do buy something close to support, like JUSHF, we have at 8.5, we're trying to get the curl back towards highs at the end of the day. VRNO, if we get at 172, 171, we hope it comes back to 180 area. And then CGC, it's actually the one that's dipping out of all of them the most, closer to that 185 too. TCNNF, nice move. Making new 52-week highs for cannabis stocks. So that's kind of what I expect out of all of these. So the ones that haven't made that move yet, that's the ones that you should have on your watch list. So I'm going to go a little smaller here in VRNO, but we're going to look for the gap. I like it. Got that 171, 172 average. So still trying to see if I want to add some more. JUSHF I'm going to leave alone, but this VRNO, I feel like it might get a quick dip to 165 where I can add the last bit. Let's see here. AABB is coming right back to support, which that's what a big seller will do to you. So keep an eye on that to hold 1.6 here into the close. Looks like there's a hidden seller at 1.72 or a hidden buyer. That could be that million that just went through, Someone's just pushed it through that, which is good to see. Let's see if it keeps selling into the close here. CGC is also dipping, so cannabis might get a little dip here into the close. We'll get our little ads. That's what we're looking for. Actually, no, I'm not gonna. Let's see. CGC will be a great watcher for a 180 hold after hours. Maybe we'll get that squeeze that we were looking for. Actually, that seller is back at 185 now. All right, here's the dip that we were looking for in VRNO to get the rest of our fills. We got 10 minutes left. This is when I look for the buzzer beater pushes, or I say the fourth quarter pushes. This is where MSOS is giving us a little dip. So this is what we want into the close here for VRNO. All right, this is where I'm going to add my last bit. Into this dip right here. Oh, yes. All right, perfect. So we got down to a 169 on this dip average of that VRNO. The goal would be for the gap up. Same with that JUSA. We got to take the dips and we got to just run with it. AABB, I'm going to stay away from since I got that. But if you do like it, I mean, it's coming back up towards highs. And it does look nice as well for the possible one. CGC, though, I do want to watch after hours. So that'll be my next one I'll keep an eye on. So dipped right to our 165 spot there in VRNOF. It looks like AABB did get some buyers into the close, which is nice to see. Let's see if it could break past that 185. That seller's been there, though, this whole time. So getting by that might be tough. Let's see if it gets enough power here at the end of the day to do it. Nope, the seller took over. That's all right. So we'll be here rooting for this MSOS as well as VRNO and JUSHF and then CGC and Tilray. Look for those alerts possibly after hours, depending on what they do. CGC is kind of weak though. Tilray's been very strong. It's interesting. CGC is only up 12%. Let me look at some of these other listed ones. ACB used to be a big runner, but it's slowed down a lot. Still, it's actually a nice runner too. All right, we got 5 minutes left. Let's see. This is usually like this is when I say I'm looking for the buzzer beater pushes. Planet 13, what a hold there. after that midday move. Oh, interesting. CGC still dipping. So we'll stay patient there. MSOS is holding into the close, which is always nice to see. All right, 2 minutes left. CGC still dipping, so I'm keeping an eye on it right now. Definitely going to be my main watch into close. There's a good chance we can go after it after hours, but we also need MSOS and everything to kind of close or to hold up as well. So keep an eye on MSOS. That was a very strong push into the close. So keep an eye on everything here. But I still like the possibility we got. Two-minute warning. AABB is still holding around if you want to try that. You have to use that 165 as cut, though, which is not my favorite. All right, so we are going to end up closing here with this small dip in cannabis, but it's always, I like dips because usually I do think that gives shorts the thought that they are going to win right now. And if we can get this bounce into tomorrow, that's what we'll be looking for here. VRNO, not the best close there, but I do think we're going to bounce here into the end. We still have 2 minutes left. CGC is coming down a little more. So I'm going to stay away to CGC, but if it does hold 180, that's when we'll be after it, possibly after hours. There's the bounce I'm talking about in VRNO. 1 minute left. All right, so we will just be looking for the gaps. Even though we're getting dips into the close, I do still like the possibilities. Everything is still holding up and trending up in the right direction on the long term. AABB, nice little quick scalp there. Here to end off our day. And this is where we're going to close it out. CGC and Tilray will be a high watcher too for sure into the close. Let's see what we got though for the possible gappers there. And there is the bell. All right, guys. So that's where we'll close it. Keep an eye on those listed ones, CGC and Tilray. The rest of the stuff we will possibly be either going after more tomorrow morning or selling into gap up. So we'll see what we got to start our day on Webinar Wednesday. Much love, everybody out there, YouTube fam. Thank you guys for being with me. If you guys did like it, click the Simpler Trading website and get into the Stock Mavericks room. We're trading every day together. So we'd love to have you on the team. But if you aren't, keep an eye out on all these plays and let's tag some bags together.